India Global, I'm Gaurie Dwivedi. Let's kickstart the show with headlines this evening. First up, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar delivers veiled message to Pakistan at the Islamabad SCO meeting, underlines cooperation in areas like trade is unlikely to flourish if cross-border activities are characterized by terrorism. Massive setback for Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Long-time Liberal MP Sean Casey criticizes the PM, says it is time for Trudeau to go. Bangladesh Army Chief General Waqaruzzaman undertakes 11-day visit to US and Canada. Matters related to bilateral relations, UN peacekeeping mission and increasing army strength are on the agenda. A shot in the arm for India's renewable power expansion plans. Nepal and Bhutan seek Indian investments to boost hydroelectric output and export surplus power to New Delhi. All right, on to the first big debate on India Global. Ottawa's Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance partners have backed the Canadian investigation into these alleged links between New Delhi and the killing of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Meanwhile, Trudeau's leadership is now under scrutiny as Liberal MPs are collectively discussing the way forward while attempting to oust the extremely unpopular Prime Minister. Long-time Liberal MP Sean Casey has gone public with his criticism of Trudeau on all media platforms. He has said, and he's made it clear, that the message that I've been getting loud and clear and more strongly as time goes by is that it is time for Trudeau to go. That's the clear message coming in from several lawmakers within Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government. And in fact, let's quickly now get in the big questions that we are taking on the show, and then we come back and talk more in terms of getting in our experts as well. But before we get you this report, I want to first tell our viewers what exactly are the key questions that we are discussing. There you can see on your screens, why has Canada not made any evidence public so far? All one sees are charges and more charges, absolutely unsubstantiated. The second big question that we are asking is Trudeau really now attempting to just appease the Sikh community? Remember, they form about 2% of Canadian population. He's pretty much existing right now because of Jagdeep Singh's party so far, which is backed on Sikh separatist view. So is that essentially what Trudeau's game plan is? And the third key question that we are asking is, will the Five Eyes nations support Canada's unsubstantiated claims? Remember, India has been crying hoarse. Where's the proof? There is still no proof, and that hasn't been given so far to the Five Eyes country as well. It is not a PR exercise for Justin Trudeau. These are very serious allegations. He needs to come clean on the proof. And before we talk further and get in our panel of experts, take a look at this report that really sets the context of the charges that Canada has put on India and India's very strong rebuttal.
Steps that would have resulted in keeping Canadians safe, because that is our top priority. India, the Indian government, rejected those advances.
India has rejected Canadian PM Justin Trudeau's accusation that New Delhi did not cooperate in the probe into the killing of Canadian citizen and Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Sources in the Ministry of External Affairs say that from the very beginning, the Canadian approach has been to make vague accusations and put the burden of denial on India. Earlier, India decided to withdraw its High Commissioner in Canada, Sanjay Kumar Verma. This after Ottawa linked him and some other Indian diplomats to the Nijjar case. Sources in the ministry slammed Canada's bid to target Indian diplomats and said no specifics have been provided by the Canadian government. Trudeau is seeking another term as Canada's Prime Minister, but has recently faced one political setback after another. He has been repeatedly seen standing shoulder to shoulder with extremists and separatists, attending Khalistan rallies, terming all of this as free speech. He has also lost the support of his key ally, Jagmeet Singh, and on Tuesday, a Liberal MP publicly called for his resignation. There is a growing number of Liberal MPs who remain frustrated with Trudeau's leadership and lack of strategy in countering Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. According to a survey by global market research and public opinion firm Ipsos, only 26% people see Justin Trudeau as a good Prime Minister. Trudeau found himself to be 19% less than the leader of the Conservative Party. There are allegations that Trudeau has made these accusations against India to polarize the electorate while catering to his vote bank in order to cling to power, something that looks improbable at this point. With Vishal Vivek, Arjun Samar Mahindran for NDTV World.
Okay, so you heard both sides, charges, unsubstantiated, and the counter charges and the rebuttals that have come in by the Indian and the New Delhi side. Really, let's get in Virendra Gupta, who's former diplomat, joining me in fact from South Africa, and we have Daniel Portman, who's a Canadian journalist, joining me live from Toronto. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking out the time. Daniel, I know it's early morning for you, and let me start with you that in about an hour's time, it's expected that the Prime Minister will appear before the committee, and he will make what many people feel more unsubstantiated claims against India, because it's all about politics and nothing to do with actual investigation. Daniel?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Trudeau does what Justin Trudeau usually does, which is ramble on in sort of a self-aggrandizing way and, you know, mishmash words together and then draw on his drama background to kind of sound tough here and there. But again, like, Justin Trudeau, as you pointed out, is deeply, deeply unpopular within the country. He's skating on thin ice. The losing support from Jagmeet Singh, I think it is a bit of smoke and mirrors. He hasn't fully lost support. It was never an official coalition, but it kind of was a coalition. It's mostly political theater between those two. So you could say, okay, maybe Jagmeet is leveraging his power. And listen, Justin Trudeau has to make a choice if he wants to maintain power. He has two options. Okay, he has a minority government and he needs to get over the threshold in a confidence vote. He can either get that from the NDP, which is now a Khalistani separatist party with some communist price controls thrown in, or he can get it from the actual separatist party in Canada, the French separatists, the Bloc Québécois. So he has to make one of these two parties happy to finish out his term for the next year. Is this what he's doing to placate Jagmeet? Maybe. Is this more a internal political calculation? You could see, like, again, he's facing a revolt within his own party. You know, Sean Casey came out and said he has to go. Anthony Housefather says his leadership needs to be reviewed. There's apparently a list of signatures from Liberal MPs that spilled onto a second page asking him to resign. Yes. And again, he is facing a foreign interference scandal where we know there's 11 traitors in the Liberal Party currently sitting in government. Our security agencies say there's 11 people in the government right now who are assets of the CCP. And we haven't released that and we haven't kicked them out because, that would be too dangerous. We got to be slow and we can't.
So these are deflection tactics. These are deflection tactics.
Most likely. Most likely there's an element of deflection. It could be a lot of things. Again, there could be deflection. There could be political calculus. I think there's some pretty strident ideologues inside the Liberal Party too. Again, this is a man who had some pretty hardcore Khalistanis with some pretty troubling family connections make up the core of his cabinet. And then, again, Jagmeet's an ideological Khalistani.
Yes.
Again, most left-wing, hard-left people in North America really hate Modi because they're told to. Modi's sort of the specter of big, evil,
I'll tell you what, Daniel, I'm going to come and ask you this. But let me just quickly get in Mr. Gupta as well, which is that, you can hate one individual as much, but you can't derail a very significant bilateral relationship at the level of the sovereign only based on either petty calculations, politically driven, or because of some personal animosity or some personal, perceptions of it. I'm going to come back and ask, but Mr. Gupta, your opening thoughts on the fact that more preposterous claims are likely to come out? Because of the fact that Justin Trudeau is going to appear before the committee soon.
Well, right from the beginning, last September, when Trudeau made that unsubstantiated assertion in the parliament, he got some shared intelligence from the other countries, fine, which is very routine for the Five Eyes countries to share intelligence amongst them. And even if that contention is right, then he should have shared that intelligence, the details of it, with the Indian authorities. I'm presuming that India and Canada enjoyed extremely good bilateral relations before that. So it is very common for friendly countries to tide over these difficulties and not take a knee-jerk reaction, a step to go ahead and make announcements in the parliament. And he's done something very similar to that, based on some preliminary reports, assertions by the police authorities. He's gone on to make his own press conference and talk about the involvement of, which is very preposterous, and I think India's reaction is very, very legitimate and very right.
Daniel,
in fact, some people would have thought India would take a much
stronger reaction New Delhi has taken because it has taken exception to the kind of commentary that has come in from Canada. Daniel, let me ask you this, that these preposterous claims that New Delhi has rejected, it has all along said, where is the proof? And even now, with an hour to go before Mr. Trudeau appears in front of the committee and probably undertakes another exercise in deflecting the real issues, the fact is no proof has been given so far. So what happens to the investigation?
What happens to the investigation is, well, I mean, they have an ongoing investigation which lasts for years. They probably assume they're going to lose in a year anyway. The investigations can be ongoing. And then when Pierre Poilievre's the president, the investigations can either be shelved or completely fall apart. And then, right, if it's shown that the accusations were spurious and ridiculous, well, then that's Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party's problem. I'm out of here. Or if they're just ridiculous. I mean, Canada investigations are slow, and Trudeau has means of controlling the RCMP. You can delay this investigation until after the election. So you always have the excuse of, oh, we can't release information because an investigation is ongoing. I mean, this looks like this is political theater. There is if you're in Canada, there's a heavy smell of sort of a political operation being run, because again, the media has sort of been all given a talking point. And remember, Justin Trudeau paid $600 million, and then another, it's been over $1 billion Trudeau has invested to buy up legacy media. So we have the CBC, which is our state broadcaster, but then we also have CTV, Global News, and all these other TV networks that are now subsidized by the Liberal Party. So it's all CBC. And, you see now that there's sort of a direction being come down, and the coverage of this issue has sort of been, okay, you do this, and all these sort of networks are sort of following this pattern, which indicates that there is a political operation sort of being run in the country.
Political operation underway. Daniel, I'm going to keep coming back to you. In fact, after what Mr. Trudeau says, I'm sure India will reject those if there are any fresh charges, and we're going to have this conversation again. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for speaking to me on India Global. We're slipping into a very short break. We come back on the other side, talk more about the SCO summit. Dr. Jaishankar there for less than 24 hours, spoke tough on terror to Pakistan, on Pakistani soil. We come back and talk more on what can SCO do from here on. Welcome back. You're watching India Global with me, Gaurie Dwivedi. On to the other big story that we're discussing. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar in Islamabad for the SCO meeting. He took a swipe at Pakistan, stating that if cross-border activities between two nations are characterized by extremism and separatism, it is hardly likely to help bilateral trade relations and other activities in the first visit by an Indian foreign minister to Pakistan since Sushma Swaraj's 2015 visit. Jaishankar called terrorism, extremism and separatism the three key evils. Let's quickly get the big questions on the screens here for our viewers, and then we also get in Uma Shankar, my colleague who is tracking that summit in Islamabad. The three questions we are asking: can terror be, which is one of the key areas of focus for the SCO, can it be taken up at the level of the summit? Because that's exactly what Dr. Jaishankar spoke about. The other key questions that we had, we can take them quickly, which is that will Pakistan take heed of the messaging that India had for it? And the last part is about whether or not the SCO will undertake some other key reforms in terms of UNSC being one, but primarily terrorism. That's security being its fundamental core architecture. Listen into what Uma Shankar had to say in his ground report. We come back and talk more with our experts.
The SCO summit held here in Islamabad has come to an end. The most positive thing about it that during this summit, Pakistan did not make any provocative statement against India, nor did India say anything harsh against Pakistan. However, India laid a lot emphasis on the challenges of terrorism and the need to overcome it. Meanwhile, information is coming out from Pakistani sources that after the SCO meeting, during the lunch hosted by Prime Minister of Pakistan, arrangements were made for Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar and India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar to sit together. They were sitting around the same table. A video of it is also there. It can be a formal gesture of parity or protocol, as well as a diplomatic effort to make them sit together. And it is also being reported that on this occasion, informal talks or exchange of words took place between the two foreign ministers. No detailed information has been given about what was discussed, but it is believed that this was a positive initiative from both the sides. EM has also tweeted while going back to India, and he thanked in that tweet, he thanked Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif for warm hospitality. It is worth noting that bilateral talks between the two countries have been closed for a long time. India's condition has been very consistent and clear that India will talk only when Pakistan takes concrete and verifiable strict action against terrorism. Even before coming to Pakistan, Foreign Minister S Jaishankar had made it clear that he was only going to participate to Pakistan to participate in SCO meeting.
Okay, that was Uma Shankar Singh giving us a lowdown of what really happened. Let's get in Dr. Priyanka Singh of the IDSA, and we also have a voice from Pakistan, hopefully a moderate voice also. Okay, Dr. Priyanka, let me start with you. In terms of what happened at the SCO, nothing unexpected happened. It was pretty much on expected lines. But how do you see the messaging that was given by India to Pakistan?
Hi, Gaurie. And I think I'll start by saying that we really have to be very careful while kind of interpreting the connotations of this visit. Yeah, of course. And I would see it more like a ritualistic visit. Foreign ministers in Islamabad to attend the SCO, the heads of government, the council meeting. And this, of course, is happening after 9 years, as you said, and the last time it was Sushma Swaraj who was there in Pakistan to attend the Heart of Asia conference. But the foreign minister has categorically said again and again that no bilateral issue will be discussed. And I think that is that. Nonetheless, I think there are some important takeaways as far as India is concerned from this particular visit of Dr. Jaishankar. The fact that the foreign minister was able to raise the point about territorial integrity and this especially on Pakistani soil, I think that is very important. And this is especially more important, very important, because Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, he had raised the issue of the expansion of the BRI. So the fact that the foreign minister was able to kind of peg this issue of territorial self-sovereignty in his remarks is quite important. And secondly, the fact that the foreign minister also pointed out to the three evils, which is separatism and extremism and and
Absolutely.
and extremism. I think as the three evils. I think that is also very important because I think some of the major grudges that India has had with Pakistan over the years and
Is related to
the Prime
that.
Minister during
Yes.
the visit is related to that.
Absolutely.
And,
Let's quickly get in Mayad Ali. Let's quickly get in Mayad Ali, the Pakistani political analyst, also on the show. Mr. Ali, respond to the fact that India's message was very loud, very clear, and very consistent. They said, and India has been maintaining all along, talks, trade, terror cannot happen together. And the message was exactly that from New Delhi. This time in Pakistan, to Pakistan.
Excuse me. It hasn't changed. I think India has been giving this message, whether in Pakistan or abroad, for a long time now. And we have a similar stance that we are facing terrorism being supported by India in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
No, Mr. Ali, you know,
and
when we
elsewhere, of
make
course.
these unsubstantiated claims, we lose an opportunity to have any meaningful discussion. So what you are saying are unsubstantiated claims, sir. As I said, I have an option to raise my voice, but I refuse to do that because I want you to make a civilized discussion, and that's what Priyanka is also here for. That's what I am here also. I'm saying that the message from India was very clear that any normalcy can be achieved only when the fundamental issue related to separatism and terror is addressed.
How different is this message from the previous one? That's what I'm responding to. We in Pakistan, the Pakistan government and the establishment, which is more important, has the same view about India. And these days, India is under focus for several things. I don't want to discuss that because that's not on our agenda of this conversation. But it
No,
is
Pakistan has been
something that
harping
was
about
expected.
2019 abrogation of 370, sir. And persistence of that on a domestic issue is just going to mean that Pakistan and India ties will completely be frozen because of a persistence by Islamabad on an issue which is completely unrelated to foreign policy. It's a matter of domestic policy for India, and it's a matter of its own internal territory.
That's how India sees it, you know. Pakistan doesn't see it like that, you know. Pakistan thinks that Kashmir was and will ever be a disputed territory which needs to be solved under the United Nations resolutions. You have now a different perspective about Kashmir. We are standing there where we were for the past so many years. So that's an issue, and that issue, I'll put it like that, you know, that issue will remain there, and we cannot resolve our issues.
Okay, we cannot resolve our issues. We cannot resolve our issues. Nothing can be done. So we are going to keep having these very clear messages that India will send to Pakistan. Priyanka, respond to that. You heard what Mr. Ali was saying from Lahore.
I think, you know, somewhere if really India and Pakistan, they have to achieve some kind of a breakthrough, I think we really have to get out of this mode of, you know, telling each other what is wrong with the other one. So I think if India is raising the issue of terrorism, it's not necessary that, you know, like some uncalled for, unwarranted claims from Pakistani side are being made. I think this will lead us nowhere. I think we both sides, I think we have to understand that. And the fact that Pakistan's complicity with terrorism is something which does not need more substantiation. It has been really kind of acknowledged by all quarters of the international community. And more than anything, like it was recalled.
Right.
So I think, you know, like what this kind of, what you say, a water tree, I think it's kind of not working here.
Absolutely.
And really, such claims do not have any sort of substantiation.
These are unsubstantiated claims. Then, you know, Pakistani regime can keep dreaming on all these factors, even as in Hindi one would say, "Niche se zameen nikli ja rahi hai," with Imran Khan and his party really ensuring that the Pakistani regime, which is completely illegitimate, is now out of power. But that's an internal matter of Pakistan. It needs to worry on several fronts. But thank you so much for taking out the time speaking to me on India Global. That's all the time I have. Thanks so much for watching.